Hi, my name is Jason Curry with the J. Curry Group, and in this week's quick tip, I want to cover escalation addendums. Escalation addendums are in place basically to save the buyer money and get them a property at the lowest price they possibly can. For example, a buyer would just submit an offer for $500,000, but it escalates up to $600,000 in increments of $5,000 above the next highest offer. So if an offer came in at $525,000, that buyer's offer would automatically escalate to $530,000. And so on and so forth until you hit that max of $600,000. It seems like a great idea, and I honestly can't believe that it exists because it takes away the whole idea of an auction type concept to get the highest and best offer possible for the seller, but they do exist, and it seems like a great idea for the buyers, but oftentimes it backfires on buyers. And this is what I mean by that. Let's say that same buyer is a conventional 20% down buyer and offers $500,000, escalates to $600,000 in increments of $5,000. Well, we have a cash buyer that comes in at $530,000, which would escalate that conventional finance buyer to $535,000. But the seller just doesn't feel that that $5,000 difference is really setting it apart from the conventional deal, apart from that cash deal. And they just automatically accept that cash deal at $530,000 instead of escalating the conventional deal to $535,000. Well, I would think, and if I was a seller, I would want my listing agent to do this. I would want my listing agent to go back to the conventional 20% down deal and say, hey, look, we have a cash deal at $530,000, which escalates you to $535,000, but that's really not quite setting you apart from them. We're going to go with them unless you want to go higher in your escalation. Which you're clearly willing to do since you had an escalation the whole way up to $600,000. Now, you would think that that's what a listing agent would do and the seller would want them to do so they can maximize their return on the contract, the deal that they're getting. However, too many times I see the seller just say, oh, this cash deal, or the listing agent not really presenting it properly and taking their time and going back and forth to the separate deals, the buyers, and negotiating to get the most they can, and they just accept that cash deal and move on, and that conventional finance buyer gets a phone call that says they didn't win, and they were willing to go much higher, but the listing agent didn't push them that far. And sometimes the sellers just don't want to push them that far. Sometimes the sellers, it's a very emotional process for the sellers, and the sellers just want to say, hey, look, they put their best foot forward, they gave it their all, and they submitted an offer that was higher than we were expecting to get anyway. Let's just take them. So in a situation where a buyer was willing to go so much higher, up to $600,000 versus $530,000, they didn't get the deal. And I see it too happen. And there's different scenarios like this, but emotion plays into it. Lack of communication plays into it. And the buyer that should win the deal just didn't put together the right offer to get there. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a call, 703-915-2244. Thanks for watching.